Stream button.
Yeah.
He's working your cameras.
There we go.
I didn't get it.
Refresh.
There we are.
What's going on over there?
Is it recorded? I pressed.
Uh-oh.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave this world behind. Is that how it goes? I don't like that song.
Oh, you know what? It's all the way.
Oh, the.
There we go. Bundy the podcast.
Bundy!
Featuring. Do some voices. Do some celebrity voices.
No way, dude.
Welcome to Bundy the podcast, the only show on YouTube that doesn't just give you herpes, but also gonorrhea. Welcome to another episode of our podcast where we interview musicians from around L.A., Orange County, wherever the fuck we can find them. Before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon subscribers at patreon.com/BundyLBC. These are the sweetie babies that help us keep the lights on. That big fucking light over there. And helps us keep the microphones and these muff thingies, and they help us keep the show going. So thank you so much to our Patreon supporters: Allison, Anthony, Brenda, Donut Sounds Records, Darian, Ellen, Federico, George, Gustavo, Jairo, Julio, Manny, Marvin, Miguel, Paul, and Shane. Thank you guys so much. Without your support, I would be dead in the gutter. So thank you. Behind the camera tonight, we've got Talon Stradley of Newton's Darkroom. What's up, Talon?
Hello, hello, hello.
How
Good
are
to
you
be
doing
here
tonight?
dude. I am doing good. I'm pressing buttons. I'm turning knobs. It's just a grand old time.
Usually when I show people the program and how to switch between things, they don't really have experience with computers or whatever. And the second you sat down, you were like, "Oh, that's it, great." Switching back and forth like a champ, dude.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Taking a class. You know, it's a good old Orange Coast College TV studio. It's a plug for them. Go take that, and then you can work cameras for Bundy.
That's the thing about not being on the radio. We can give plugs for whatever we want.
Yeah,
like wet wipes.
community college.
Yeah,
Butt plugs.
butt plugs. Yeah. Talon, what's new in the world of Newton's Darkroom?
Lots of cool stuff happening. We have our new show the whole way through, which features a lot of local artists, the same guys that you guys have around here. We play the entirety of their album, and then we interview them. We released a new podcast episode on our own feed of kind of that audio fiction stuff, and then we're actually working with La Troyenne on a project that'll be dropping in April. So that's a collaborative storytelling and musical experience. So
Sick.
yeah,
Very
look out
cool.
for that.
Yeah, Newton's Darkroom. Your podcast is very storytelling based, and you write music for it and all that stuff. It's very cool. I really appreciate having met you, and I'm glad that you're here today helping us out.
I'm glad
cool
you
dude.
enjoy it.
What'd you say?
He's a cool dude.
He's a cool dude, and he's helping us out. So, anyways, you had a science fact for us?
Yes. Okay.
Fuck.
Science fact,
Science.
everybody. Fun fact, science corner time. So there are mushrooms, right? We all know mushrooms.
I love mushrooms.
And we're familiar with photosynthesis, right? Like plants, they take in energy from the sun and they turn that into sustenance. Well, there's this new thing that has just come about since like the 90s, and it's called radiosynthesis. And it is mushrooms that actually gain sustenance from radioactive energy. So they found these outside of power plants, right? Because nuclear energy is like a fairly recent thing. So this happened in like the 90s. They're still not entirely sure what's going on, but their basic theory is that there's this melanin, which is this type of chemical or bacteria or something inside of the mushrooms that allow them to incorporate and ingest radioactivity. So now scientists are looking at that and thinking that that might be a possible food source for like far space travel, right? Or even a way to protect astronauts or people from radiation is these mushrooms that kind of like soak it up, eat it, and grow off of that.
Do you think we'll have mushroom spacesuits?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, wait, is melanin that same stuff that like gives you color in your skin?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think it is. I think it is.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So,
Mushrooms,
so
just
if-
as trippy as you thought.
If anything, just you learned something right off the bat, you guys. So subscribe and share and all that stuff. Today in the studio, we've got Andrew Shanison of the Psychic Wave. How are you doing, bud?
Good. Hey, can I just say you're one of my favorite people, and the last time we hung out, you told me that I'm very like standoffish when we hang out together, and it made me a little sad.
You know what it is? Is that you're just too cool. not too cool like purposefully. You're just so chill. You know what I mean?
I'm
And
not.
when you start drinking, you get a little more wild.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
feel like when you're totally sober, you know, your attitude is just very like, you know, you're staring off at the 100-yard stare kind of thing.
Somebody's told me that I have the personality of a cop who never got to be a cop. As in, like, I'm always in the back of the room. I got to make sure I can see everybody. I'm analyzing everything, kind of soaking it all in. And then when I drink, I turn into, you know, a criminal.
Right.
So-
Right. Best of both worlds.
Yes.
So what do you? What kind of criminal activity do you see in this room?
Criminal activity. I know there's a few health violations going on right now because I did not sign
Don't
up for
say
all this
that.
cigarette smoke in my lungs.
You know what? We're a private establishment, so we smoke all we want in here. But I hope that you enjoy the cigarettes and the cancer.
This,
Are you still smoking?
No,
No, because I remember
from time. to
Remember one time you came into the studio just to hang out, and I ended up telling you, like, I got drunk, and I was like, let's record music.
Yeah.
And we had a whole night of recording.
We
and,
did.
And you were like, no, I'm quitting smoking. And I was like, by the end of the night, you're going to be smoking, trust me.
Guess what?
And you totally did.
I totally
You
did.
totally had like
I'm
a whole
5 days off of cigarettes right now,
pack. Okay.
and I feel goodish.
Okay. So tonight's really setting you back, man. Tonight's a whole pack right in your lungs.
Nah, as long as I don't take one from you. I only really smoke these days when like I drink. So like if hard alcohol is involved,
Yeah.
then I get the bad craving for a cigarette.
Well, we got a surprise for you tonight. Come on in, Jim Beam. Jim?
Jim couldn't make it.
He left.
Yoko Ono got to him.
All right, so the psychic wave. I obviously was very. We've talked about this on our because we've done a podcast many times before together. But I was inspired by your podcast to do my own, and I think there's like a healthy competition going on. But why don't you tell people?
I think you were inspired by podcasts.
Yeah. Well, I've always liked podcasts. I always like.
You're like, oh, this fucker can do it.
Yeah, exactly. But going on your podcast really inspired me to be actually like, I'm actually going to do it.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell people about your podcast?
I run a podcast called The Psychic Wave. The Psychic Wave is a band, podcast, and merchandising company located in good old Fullerton, California. The podcast was something that I was just doing because I was a lowlife that needed to have some kind of direction. And I had the mics and I had cameras, and I figured let's record something and make people think I'm professional when I'm not.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
No one goes into podcasting because they have something going on in their life.
I think a lot of people do. I mean, if you really want to analyze it, I did have something going on in my life. I was going to a lot of shows and trying the musician thing harder than I had in the past at that point, and that was kind of a way for me to meet other bands and musicians without just stomping on their grounds and not offering anything back.
Yeah. You found your way to carve your niche into the music world that you were part of.
I guess so. I mean, I just talk to bands that I like or that will talk to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We run a cool thing. We've got our own little slice of heaven. Yours is, there's that healthy competition. Yours is different than mine. So either way, whichever one of us is doing well, it's good for both of us.
Have you experienced a flip when you used to go to the shows and people didn't give a shit about you? They didn't give you the light of day, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, you're the fucking podcast guy."
Yeah, I remember.
Let's be best friends.
The first time that happened, I was like, "Oh shit, that's really cool." And then the first time it like really sunk in was I was at this bar that's no longer in Fullerton. It shut down, but this bar called was it? Yeah, The Bird. It used to be called The Bird. And I walked in, and there was somebody wearing a Psychic Wave t-shirt. And oh, it was called The Republic. Now it's The Bird.
Yes, I remember The Republic.
But then the guy, it was that celebrity feeling where, like, you can tell somebody's watching you the whole night. And I was kind of, like, digging it.
Yeah.
But he came up to me finally, like, at the end when he was drunk enough. And he was like, dude, I fucking love the podcast, dude. It's, like, it's so cool. And I was like... Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have not experienced that on that level of like there's a complete stranger that I don't know who's watching the podcast. Usually for me it's like people that I know from the music scene come up to me and they're like, "Hey,
well,
man,
you know a
podcast."
lot of people.
I do. Yes.
So
and it's a very good problem to have, but it's also it's like whenever my cousin Brenda comes out to come visit.
Hey Brenda.
I feel like I'm super stoked to like go out and like have a drink or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But you don't get to talk to her.
No, it's not that I don't get to talk. I obviously was like I just say hi to people and stuff. But like even today, we were driving to the 7-Eleven when you got here, and a car was rolling up, and they stopped and they were like, "Hey man, what's up? How's it going?" And I was just like, "Hey, what are you up to today?" Like I can't even fucking drive down the street sometimes because Long Beach is such a like tight knit kind of community.
She's like, "Is that your drug dealer?"
Yeah, he does look like a drug dealer. He's got a fucking big mustache, bigoton. Yeah. He was actually the drummer, the original drummer for the Growlers. He lives very near here.
I know of that guy.
Yeah. So, but he lives near here, so I say hi to him every now and then. But anyway, so doing the podcast, you've had a lot of guests. How many guests are you up to now?
How many
episodes?
It's 125. I counted all the ones that I didn't put numbers to. There are some that I kind of just like rant and talk about shit by myself for like an hour. And altogether it's like 125-ish. Yeah.
When you started to where you are now?
Yeah, I'm sure there's about another 10 that didn't make it up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, how much has it changed since you started to where it is now?
In the first episode, I was wearing a weird gray t-shirt, super short hair, baseball cap from my high school, and on a couch with one mic, and I was just a horrible host.
Yeah.
I was, like, trying to be too topical. And you ever smoke pot with people who are younger than you, and all they talk about is other times that they've been high? It was kind of like that.
Yeah, sure.
And Tess was actually part of the first couple podcasts. and just trying to riff and figure out how to be comfortable in front of a mic. And now I'm too comfortable, and sometimes I say things that get me in trouble.
Do you get in trouble?
Jesus
is watching.
Yeah.
I feel like to me it's therapy, man. I come out here all the time and I talk to people, and then it's not even during the
Feel the same
podcast. It's not even during the podcast where like we get all like the real shit out. Like I will ask about like, oh, how is your mental? Do you have depression? Do you have anxiety? All that kind of stuff, because that's stuff that I'm going through. But also, even after the podcast ends, people stick around, drinking with them and like really getting to bro down with them, and it's great because you get to have all these great connections with people that are complete strangers for the most part. But then at some point, they're gone, and then they're not your friends anymore. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. You and I feel like we share the same quality where we get off on people.
Yeah, baby.
We like to get off on people.
I do, yeah.
But we like to see all the different types of people there are in the world, and the ones that are just like us, it's fun to hang out with them because we lock in pretty easily. But the ones that are super different from us, we find them fascinating.
Yeah.
And also, we both like talking, and I feel like when I've spent a whole day not saying anything, I feel like I'm gonna bust.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get like anxiety. I'm like, I need to
premature podcast ejaculation.
Yeah, I need to let out all this jizz in my mind into a microphone and into your ear holes.
Yeah, I feel like when I have a guest on that I don't know, it can be hard sometimes, especially if they have a stoner mindset. Like we're obviously when we talk, dude, we can talk and talk and talk, and it's cool. But like when I ask a question, and that same thing where they're just kind of like, I'm like, how's your music going? And they're like, it's cool.
Fuck, dude.
It's a really
cool.
hard.
We just recorded at Lazy Cat Records. Like,
it's really hard to become that host, and over time you start acquiring those tools where it's like just keep talking, and eventually they'll say something interesting, or like what's something that you have learned to like help get people out of their shells.
Help get people out of their shells. Well, I have a trick that I do at the beginning of a podcast. So when I have a podcast guest, if I don't know them, I'll start recording, obviously, and I'll say my little intro, and I'll say like a few things about what they're doing, introduce them, try to be funny in that first couple seconds. And if I can feel that they're loose enough and they're willing to go in any conversational direction that I want to go, then we just keep going. But if I find that they're kind of stiff and it's hard for them to get things out, what I'll do is I'll ask them about like where they're from and like their childhood and the beginnings of things that they know like off the top of their heads, things that they don't have to think about, like where did you grow up? Yeah. And then we start from there. You get them comfortable talking about themselves, answers that are easy for them to give, so that later on when you're asking tough questions, they're more comfortable with it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot easier to stoke an ego than it is to like get like a real solid like meaningful conversation out of people sometimes.
Right. Well, that's why when I find that they're having trouble opening up, I'll ask them about their childhood or where they grew up, because that can lead into them just giving easy answers and finding some different conversation that's not about themselves. Or they'll say something like, yeah, my dad used to be a cop, but then we moved all of a sudden. And then you kind of gotta, as a host, be like, why'd you move all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Well, my
little cracks.
Dad shot a dude, and then it gets like deep. And you can sometimes when you talk about their past, people will like give things out that they don't realize.
Yeah.
And then they're already in it.
I know that you've experienced this. I've experienced this too. We've talked about how sometimes you'll have a guest on, and then they'll regret something they said, and they'll ask you to take down an episode.
Yeah.
That's only happened to me like twice, and it's happened with the same guy.
Fuck.
Do
you know who this is, Talon?
I think I was on one of those episodes.
Let's not out him.
No, that wasn't. Did you do that too?
I don't think so. I don't think it was something. I don't know. There's a lot of talking that happens in this room. If these walls could talk.
Well, the problem
they
is
would say fuck.
The problem is when you're doing the show like a bajillion times, and you're drinking too. Like sometimes you might say some shit. Like, okay, one of the things that I think I talked about it recently on a podcast where it's like your tongue gets a little too loose, and you need to learn how to like, what, maybe I shouldn't talk about I don't know, sexual deviancy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
We've had a podcast together that we didn't put. We've had two podcasts that we did.
Yes.
And we didn't post.
Well, we got really, really drunk a few times. It was like way too crazy, but But yeah, I'm learning as I go.
That was like way too crazy.
I'm
bro.
learning. I'm learning as I go to not say too much, but just to give at least give a little taste, because people want personality. They want a little like realism. You know?
Well, that's what we talked about early on with doing the podcast. Was they're not really. You have two types of listeners. The first type is probably going to be the one that's coming over from the band or artist or photographer that they like. And that person posts, hey, I'm going to be on this podcast, so they'll check in. So they're like, in this example, my fans are coming for me, and then they might stick around for me, and then hopefully they stick around even longer for you.
Yeah.
So you have the fans of whoever's coming on, and then you have the fans of the podcast host, your regular fans. And if you don't have any personality pushed into it, and you don't give things out that maybe are a little too personal but worth sharing, nobody's going to stick around, because they're not going to have that like sitcom stress where they're like, what's going to happen next week?
Yeah.
And you don't want to fake it.
There's an element of
but-
like wanting to see you crack a little bit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this question, because you and Tess just did a podcast together, and it was the first time you had Tess actually behind the mic.
You once
with
called
you.
her Pest.
It's the first time you had her on the podcast with her, and she's your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so when I first saw that you did that, it came up on my iTunes thing, like, oh, Psychic Wave has a new episode with Tess, and I was like, oh, damn, dude, like that might get real because it's your girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and I was like really happy to hear that it was just like a lot of positivity. It was like a lot of you guys just like talking about random subjects, and it never did dip into like weird relationship things that some people can have, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, that was your issue with me coming on your podcast the first couple times. You're like, get yourself out of talking about relationships with friends and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, you just used to, because you did base, when you started your podcast, based on like what you were going through in your relationships at the time, and
Yeah.
and how sad you were, which is, you know, like a great thing. It's therapy to be able to talk to other people, but at the same time, nobody else necessarily wants to hear you talk for like 10 episodes about like how sad you are about some breakup, you know?
yeah, I wasn't. I think I was. Yeah, I was coming to terms.
You were learning.
I was learning I had no idea where my life was going to go yet.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I mean, it's like 2 years that I've known you now, and I didn't think I'd be here.
You know, I know how we can mark that too, because I've been to two of your birthday parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got some questions.
All right, let's get into it.
So I did a poll earlier on Instagram.
God.
I said, give me your best would you rathers.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So
Some good ones?
Here's some great ones, okay? Twanner, he's got a couple on here.
Oh, I love that dude.
He
What's
says,
up, Twanner?
Would you rather play an instrument for Bundy or be Nani's pedal board player?
I would rather be your pedal board player, because I would not want to drag Bundy down by playing with them.
You don't consider yourself a good musician, or what?
No, I do. Our styles are
They're
even though
different.
it's rock and roll. It's different.
Yeah.
And I love being on. We've recorded together. We've recorded music together, and I love singing harmonies with you. But as a band, you're the front man, and I wouldn't want to get in the way of that.
Yeah,
because I like being a front man.
Yeah, same thing with your band. It's like,
Yeah.
You famously keep bringing it up. It's like
What?
A line that I got from Louis from Fellow Robot was, I never want to be in a band with you because I respect you too much as my friend. I don't want to be in a band with you because we're going to butt heads, and eventually that might lead us to not be friends.
Yeah.
So, you know, working with you on music and stuff was fun, but that's not something that I would want to be necessarily in a band with you.
But you wouldn't want to, like, I would go on tour as like a photographer for your band and like
Sure.
help with merch and do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I would love to be around you in all your music situations, but I would not want to. I don't want to contribute. I want Bundy to be Bundy, and I want me to be a fan.
Next question. Would you rather change your name to Scooper or Rascal the Dude?
Well, I would never ever change it to Scooper, because people would call me Pooper Scooper.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Rascal the Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, you rascal! I like that.
Rascal's a cool
Let's
one.
make that a thing.
All right. Cole Walker _ says, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck, a horse-sized duck,
Oh.
or 100 duck-sized horses, and why?
Ducks. Wait. Okay, so I'm conflicted because I would love to see a duck the size of a horse. But have you seen like inside a duck's bill? They got those jagged teeth. That shit, I feel like if it got me a good chomp, it would.
Ducks are vicious.
Yeah. And also, I think if I saw 100 duck-sized horses, it would just make me laugh, and I don't think they could hurt me. So I'd rather fight the 100 duck-sized horses.
Would you rather go on a vow of silence for a year or a vow of celibacy for a year? Ooh.
I love me some non-celibacy. Fuck. I don't. Okay, so there'd have to be some kind of magic spell because I would just do both of them. Like there'd be no way I could get through it.
Well, that's okay. If there was a magic spell,
No
sex or no talking.
Well, I can't do a podcast if I can't talk.
Let's be honest.
I would do the non-talking.
The non-talking,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
You can't scream during sex, obviously.
I
Because
don't
you have a
anyway.
vow of
I don't scream. I don't go. I don't scream.
All right. Would you rather die in a hole or live in a hole? What does that mean? What did you die in a hole?
We
or
all
live
die in a hole.
That's true. We all die and then are put into a hole. But okay, so if you're put into, did you ever see that Ryan Reynolds movie, Buried?
No.
Okay, so in the movie, Ryan Reynolds wakes up and he's in a coffin underground. He's like 10 feet underground. He can't get out, and he's got all
Volume 1 or Volume 2?
Volume. Fuck.
They did that in Kill Bill.
Yeah. But this is a whole movie just based on just this one.
It is
scenario.
good.
You
The
said
movie's good?
Yeah, I remember I saw that. We like pirated it back in the day.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, that was like my first
love
introduction
pirates.
to Ryan Reynolds because that was before he did any of the like superhero stuff or anything. Like he was just a rom-com guy back
Yeah.
there, and then it's an entire movie with literally just him inside of a coffin, and it
he's
is
got.
the most
I think he has a
suspenseful
cell
thing.
phone and a lighter.
Was it?
and,
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
Have you seen Phone Booth?
Yes, with
Colin
Colin Farrell.
Farrell.
Yes.
Which one's better?
I'll say
Which movie?
Buried is better.
Oh yeah,
Buried is
All right,
better.
Then I'll definitely watch Buried.
Yeah, it's good. So basically, he's in this coffin. The whole movie takes place in the coffin, and it leaves very sparingly. It's very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
They shot it all inside of a coffin too. They literally built this like little stage thing, but there's some crazy shots where like it'll pull up outwards and it looks like the roof of the coffin is like expanding, and they literally had to build this own little set. That it is crazy. Like watch the movie, then watch the making of, because it is one of the craziest making of experiences you'll see.
Talon, you do so many really great things, but you are like the perfect person for this job right now.
He is actually. I'm really glad that you're here doing this. Thank you.
He is like all up in. He like behind the scenes,
And
man.
he
He's
knows
like,
everything.
Watch the movie, but then watch the like behind the scenes. But I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying like he's got this.
Yeah.
He's
the perfect Jamie. He's the perfect Jamie.
I would love to see you and Bundy make a lasting friendship.
Well, you know what?
I'm having a blast.
It
right
comes
now.
from having your own podcast and being a knowledgeable person, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good job. All right. Next question.
In 2 years, having a podcast is not going to be special.
No, it hasn't been special. Dude, podcasts started like 10 years ago.
I know, but we're still like, we're on the podcast boom. 2 years from now, it's not.
This was the first year where a majority of people have listened to a podcast. We've officially hit 51%, and that was the first time in all of history that's
really?
happened.
Thank God we got in.
That's
See,
why.
this
This
is
why we
why
have
you're good
him
at
here.
this.
Yes.
He knows facts.
I will say I did see a meme of like hipster starter packs, and one of the things in the pack was having your own podcast. So,
Everybody thinks they're their own TV star.
that's right. And the technology is giving us that opportunity. So, would you rather have a nice pair of titties on you, or a wide hips and banging ass?
Oh, white hips banging ass, dude.
You're a butt man. You like butts?
Wait, on me?
Yes, on you.
I mean, I would love to have white hips and a banging ass. If I had tits, lots of people would not fuck with me.
Do you think that it would be hard to use the toilet?
I think it'd be easier. I could literally jump on top of a ladder, climb up a 10-foot ladder, jump off, land on the toilet, and not feel anything.
You got to get the muscle control like perfect for that though.
No.
I think I would like to see that. Back in the day, like the carnival days, they would have like people jump into like a glass of water. Like it's a joke, right? It's a Tom and Jerry joke.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry joke. But if you could do that with your butt cheeks and drop a turd into a toilet from like 50 feet in the air, that could be a skill, man.
That's like that was the more harmless versions of like Jackass. Like they would do stuff like that was like just I remember they had this target practice thing. It was something like that where they wanted this guy to shit, like projectile shit onto a target, and that was like how you would win the relay race or whatever.
I forgot Jackass was so stupid.
I loved it. I loved it. When people slept over at my house when I was like 12 years old, they got 4 choices. We can watch Jackass because I had all the DVDs. We can watch Viva La Bam. We can watch Step Brothers, or we can watch Anchorman.
Yeah.
Oh, and some South Park movie.
Did you ever watch Bum Fights?
I've seen them. They make me feel really bad.
Yeah, they make me feel terrible. There's one famous one where they chain a crackhead to a basketball hoop pole, and then they put the crack it's like crack and like a couple $100 and like something else, and they put it just out of the reach of his fingers, and it's just a video of him like trying. Oh, and the key to his fucking chain, and he's trying to reach that shit. It's so sad, man. I can't believe that was a thing. And that shit.
You think that one was real?
I think it was real, man, and I think that all that stuff came from that Jackass world, which is, unfortunate side effect. But at the same time, Jackass, when I was a kid, it was a boon for us because it was like, let's get out and be miscreants. But at the same time, it was such a terrible thing because you had to like watch your back all the time if you had friends, because they would like shave your head or like kick you in the nuts or some stupid shit like that.
Okay, so yeah, but I think it's always been like that for boys. So like, you're 5 years older than me, and my dad is 18 years older than me. We're actually pretty close in age,
Yeah, 18 years is not that big of a gap,
no,
apparently.
And the stuff that he was doing in junior high and high school was the same stuff I was doing. And the stuff he did after that is the same stuff I'm doing right now.
I feel like if Jackass didn't become a thing, I'd be a good little boy. I would go to the library. I would read Harry Potter.
No, there was always miscreant comics and stuff. You would have found this world no matter what. You would have always been a bad kid.
Violence is everywhere.
Not violence so much, but just like being naughty.
You like being naughty?
R.I.P. Kimbo Slice.
All right, next question. Slam a bottle of Robitussin, or eat $50 worth of Taco Bell in one sitting.
Dude, both. I would do the Taco Bell first, then slam the bottle of Robitussin.
You can only pick one.
So
I feel like you would drug overdose.
It's just bad on your
from
kidneys.
Either one.
Yeah. No, I would. So $50 of Taco Bell. That's like 3 mansions full of Taco Bell.
You know what? I also think it depends on what you order, right? So if you order those Crunchata fucking Crunchwrap Supremes,
yeah, baby.
those are like $5 a piece.
Yeah.
That's only what, 10 of those.
I'll down the bottle of Robitussin.
But if you order potato tacos, that's a lot of fucking potato tacos.
That's like, that could feed like 50 vegan kids.
Yeah. There's cheese on them.
Let's see. Slam a bottle of Robitussin. See where the night takes us,
Yeah. What do you think about lean? Because that's what they do, right?
I did it in high school.
They take, I've never done it. So they take Robitussin and...
It's codeine.
Oh, I thought it was... Oh, okay. So codeine and what? Grape juice or something like that?
No, the way that I did it in high school, which is the way that all the rappers like Lil Wayne, you remember that guy?
Yeah.
They would put Sprite and codeine and then a Jolly Rancher.
Oh, okay.
And that was it. But you would do like 50-50 of each. You would put like half a bottle of codeine and then fill the rest up with Sprite.
And 50% Jolly Rancher?
No, 1 Jolly Rancher. 50% Sprite, 50%
where does
codeine.
the Jolly Rancher come into play? That's like
It kind of like slowly like dissolves, and it gives it like, it just sweetens it up. Because
Sprite's already pretty fucking sweet.
Sprite is sour bubbles.
Okay.
And then you get the Jolly Rancher. Rappers were doing it. We were like, yo, got to do what the rappers are
So
doing.
what did it feel like? I've never done it.
You just get tired.
Yeah.
It's like...
Why is that fun?
So it wasn't... You kind of... If you drink a lot of it, it was like we were in high school. We were like, let's get fucked up before Spanish class. So just trying to get a high. But what's really fun, which I only did it once because I don't really smoke weed anymore, was you get blunt papers and you dip it in codeine and you let it dry, and then you roll a blunt once it's dry and you smoke it. It's like every part of you is like vibrating as you're high.
That can't be healthy.
Oh, it's so fun.
That can't be good for you.
It's not good. I don't think... Wait, science community. Does codeine actually affect you if you smoke it, or was it just a weird strain of weed? Was I just really high?
We're gonna need some extra research time for that one.
All right.
When I was a kid, we used to do Cortisone cough and cold medicine, and you would
Quercetin,
take
baby.
Yes, triple C's they called it, and you would take 8 pills.
Fuck,
of this
that's
cough
too
medicine. Yeah, and what I didn't know at the time is that you were actually supposed to strip the candy coating off of the pill so that you don't get sick. So every time we would do it, we would immediately vomit and feel super sick, but then that feeling would pass, and then you would it was basically meth, and you would just be high as fuck.
Yeah, if you want to get high, you got to go through a little bit of trouble first.
Apparently, yeah. And I remember doing it and just feeling like
nothing fun is easy.
I wasn't even there, dude. I was there and I was having so much fun. Top of my game.
How old were you though?
I think I was like 17-ish. Okay, 18.
So you're like conscious enough.
No, so that's the thing. You're conscious, but you're not there. Your brain, you're in a different place.
That's
completely.
how I used to get with weed back in the day. But you ever take Adderall?
I love Adderall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a clean high.
Yes.
I don't suggest it for anybody, but it's a clean high. I like it.
I did Adderall before I ever did cocaine, and Adderall is just so much better. It's the legal, longer-lasting version of cocaine.
Yeah, I did a bump of cocaine for the first time a few months ago.
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah. I've done cocaine less than 3 times.
Yeah.
And
why don't I believe that?
Because look at me. But no, it's true. And one time I did a bump, another time I did like coke all night, and it was good coke. And that's when coke gets fun, when you're doing good coke all night long. But if you're just doing a bump,
I just did one bump.
Look, cocaine's not worth it. It's not.
Yeah, that's
It's
what everyone
not.
says. But
Adderall's
I've never done it, and someone had it, and I was like, I don't got nothing to do tomorrow. I might as well try it.
If you jumped off a bridge, would all your friends do cocaine?
I mean, if a lot of my friends jumped it, I might try it. Would you rather shit a pine cone or piss a jack?
Oh, definitely shit a pine cone.
You didn't even think about it.
Nothing is coming out of my I don't know about you, but my hole for my penis is very tiny.
You never think about gallstones? Is that what it is? Gallstones?
Kidney stones.
Like kidney stones?
I think about it all the time. That's why
Yeah.
that answer was easy for me. Next question.
I see. Okay, all right. Would you rather live without music or live without sex? That one comes from Mike, Chief Majorson.
Mike, we both know that's Michelle's like go-to party question. Anytime you're at a party with Michelle, lead singer of Iris, she will ask everyone that question. The more drunk she gets, the more often she will ask that question.
So what's the answer?
Michelle, hold on. So Michelle said, this is hard.
This is frustrating.
I actually
for you.
can't remember. I can't remember because we had a long conversation about this. But Mike, I think, said he would live without sex, which I don't believe. But we came to the conclusion that we would live without music because there's music all around you, like the sound of the wind through leaves, the sound of like kids laughing, the sound of just people on a busy street.
Well, let's just say you're deaf.
Well, just fuck me, right?
Would you rather have your pee-pee chopped off, or would you rather be deaf?
Be deaf?
Yeah.
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 You could still like go to a concert and enjoy. You could go to a concert and enjoy
the vibrations.
But there's something like going to a show is not so much just about the music. It's about being there with people, experiencing this thing, and having fun. So
Getting sweaty.
yeah, running around.
Would you rather have 3 nipples?
Yep.
Or 1 nipple on your forehead?
3 nipples, dude.
All right, and this is the last one. Would you rather make out with a dude or suck a dude's dick?
Make out with a dude. So look,
You ever thought about sucking a dude's dick before?
I've thought about it in the way. Okay, so let me explain.
He's thought about it. He's gay. It's official.
So I find some dudes amazingly attractive. There's some dudes out there that are just handsome, and there's something about them that is so charming that attracts me to them. And in that way, I think, I could make out with a handsome guy because to me, making out can be sexual, but it's not always sexual. But I have no sexual desire or even interest in penis. Like, it's just, to me, it's literally like a limp, like just
They're not always
extremity.
limp.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing about somebody else's penis that is interesting to me. But making out with somebody doesn't have to be sexual. Sucking somebody's dick has to be sexual. You can't suck somebody's dick and be like, chicky. Like, it just doesn't work that way.
Wait, I think we need a woman's opinion on this. Anybody want to jump in on this?
Is making out always sexual, or is it sometimes just fun?
I mean, isn't it like a fun sexual thing? Is it a fun, like, not sexual thing? Would you
I mean,
make out with, like, your mom? I don't know.
I can
Would you
detach.
make out with your mom?
Sexual, like, there's a little sexual.
I mean, I would detach. I'm just saying I can detach myself easier from the sexual aspect with making out with a dude than with sucking a dude's dick. And I feel like
There's a level of pleasure.
I think you're getting really into it.
making out, both parties are having fun. If I was to suck somebody's dick, only they're having
All right,
fun.
how about let me frame it this way, okay? You can
No.
you can
We're done.
You can make out with a guy,
Okay.
or you can suck a dude's dick who has no feeling in his penis, but he took ED medicine, so it's hard. He has no feeling. It's just a piece of meat.
No, I don't. I have no desire or. There's nothing interesting to me about somebody else's penis. There would be nothing fun about it to me.
JR from Donut Sounds, he asks, how long did it take you to become competent at your instrument?
Still working on it, dude. Competent instrument as in what? Is he saying guitar?
If that's your main instrument, sure.
Okay, so guitar is always a learning thing for me. The thing that's so great about guitar is I think you can never tap out at how good you can get with pedals, with whatever. It's amazing. The options are limitless. So in that way, I don't think I'll ever be great at guitar, but I became comfortable at guitar maybe a year ago. And I think my real instrument, the one that I'm most confident with when I'm performing, would probably be my voice. And I've noticed recording with other musicians that they say that I have a good voice.
It's an angelic voice.
And it's fun for me.
You got a little baby voice.
I
I'm just
can.
kidding.
We
No.
definitely get we're getting a little crazy on the new stuff we're recording. But
Yeah, what are you doing?
well, I stole Mike from Iris
Uh-huh.
playing bass.
Good. He's a good bass player.
He really is. And I didn't steal him. He's still in Iris. And we got Will Niswanger from the band Funke, who tried out on bass before, but watching him play bass, I could see that he is just an amazing guitarist. Like, the way he was playing bass, he was doing things that if he was doing them on a guitar would just be outstanding. And he's more of a jazz bassist, and that wasn't what we were looking for. And so we got him on lead guitar. He's doing so much cool shit. He makes it sound like he's got jazz and like a Radiohead vibe to him, and I love it. He's a good.
So you're putting this band together so you can start playing out live. I know
Yeah.
you've tried to get a few bands together in the past, and it might not have been working out necessarily. But now you got a little team.
Yeah, so Psychic Wave has always been my music project. Whatever I do, it'll be Psychic Wave. That's the songs I write. And we have the band learn those songs, and then now that we have another guitarist, we're changing the songs around and kind of just doing it less seriously these days because I took it too seriously. And just having fun. We're going to play maybe like 6 months of shows, here and there, do 1 or 2 weekend tours up and down the coast, and just have fun with it, not take it seriously, and just enjoy it, because I'm not going to be a super famous musician. That's not my bag.
Not with that attitude.
No, I'm just not going to. And that's fine with me because I just enjoy playing music.
I saw...
And I'm enjoying it more now that I'm not focused on, like, I'm going to make it.
I saw a 30-minute documentary on the song Blue. Do you remember that song?
I'm blue. If I was green, I would die. If I were green, I would die. If I was green, I would die.
Yeah, so...
In a blue house with a blue window.
Exactly. So
Blue is a color.
Vice has been putting out these little mini, like 30-minute documentaries about these singles that have been coming out.
Love that music.
It's
video.
a fucking stupid song.
Yeah.
But they talk all about like how these guys, they didn't expect that they were gonna have a hit. They had no idea, and all of a sudden the song just blew up, and they went from nobody knowing them at all to to playing stadiums every fucking night. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would not be because I've been on tour.
Yeah, but you haven't been
It's
on
hard.
tour. You haven't been on tour with money though. That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's true.
If you had
That's
a big
true.
tour bus and everyone took a shit in the same toilet, but you had a toilet, that'd be pretty nice.
Look, I would do tour once a year for 3 months if I, had even just barely enough money. If I broke even when I came back, I would do it.
Yeah.
All around the world. But doing tour with money is a lot different, and I think in that way you can enjoy things a lot more. Money makes things less stressful.
Well, you know what they say: more money, more problems.
Different problems. You don't have to worry about groceries. You don't have to worry about where you're sleeping. And I think that stuff is the major stressor.
Did you hear that Shaq, when he got his big check from the NBA?
Yeah, I did.
He went out and bought.
We're talking hot ones right now.
Yeah, it was on Hot Ones, but I've seen him talk about this story before. He went out and he bought, I think it was like a Bugatti or something like that, something crazy.
He bought 3 of them.
3 of them, yeah. So he
Not
but
Bugattis,
he
a
bought
Mercedes.
A Mercedes, yeah. So he bought one for himself. He took it home. His dad saw it and said, "Wait, where's mine?"
Mm-hmm.
He went and bought another one for him, and then he went back and bought another one for his mom and a bunch of suits and all this stuff. He just blew all the money all at once.
Well, he didn't blow it. He blew it at the very end. But the point was
the taxes that got him.
The taxes that get taken out when you do a signing from some league or whatever. He didn't actually have 40 million or whatever it was.
What would you do if someone gave you $5 million for a record deal?
First of all, pay off all my debts, no matter how small. If I owed somebody $5 from 5 years ago, I'd be like, here you go. That's been stressing me out for 5 years. Do that, and then I would buy my parents a reasonable house where they could easily raise my younger brother who has autism and make sure that they can just spend time focusing on him and give him a good life for as long as they can. I would get a new car. I would.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would get
a fur coat car.
So when I'm talking about buying a house, I'm talking about nothing special. Just a house.
That's the dream, man. When you think about Richie Valens or whatever, all those fucking rock stars back in the day, they got
I
their
did
big
not
paychecks.
know that guy was that young, by the way.
What was he, 15 or some shit?
So young.
He was really young.
Yeah.
And the first thing he buys his mom a house. What a beautiful fucking dream to be able to pull off,
I can definitely say that my family's stress stresses me out.
Mm-hmm.
And so buying a house for them, it seems very selfless, but the truth is if I don't have to hear that problem from them anymore, it makes my life a lot easier.
Right. Selfishness can be productive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I would do one fun thing though.
Which is
Spaghetti
pool.
I would travel for 3 months.
Where would you go?
Anywhere. I wouldn't plan it.
You just
I would probably
walk
start
around?
I would probably start by going to Europe,
yeah.
and
Some
everything.
people get stabbed, dude.
Just
Just walking around, having all the money in the world, no cares in the world.
You can't be. Number one, you can't be an idiot. You can't be whoa, I've got so much money.
Uh-huh.
I hope nobody notices all this spending I'm doing. But, just don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be scared of everything. I'm going to go and have a good time. And, my grandma told me 2 days ago? I told her, I said, hey, I'm doing this thing where I'm doing an LA River cleanup on April 20th. We're going to go there in the morning and clean up a bunch of trash from the LA River, just do our part and try to raise some money as well. I'm part of a team that's doing that sort of thing. And when I tell that to somebody, I assume they're thinking oh man, that's pretty cool. Good for you. You're helping out.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, right? That's I'm not doing it so that people think I'm cool, but that's...
No, I get
think,
it. We're all going to suck your dick.
Maybe. But it's a good thing. Overall, that's for sure a good thing to do.
It is, yeah.
Right? My grandma goes, oh, don't do that. It's dirty.
What? Yeah, that's the point.
She's you could get stabbed by needles. Don't go clean that up. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
This is the fucking point.
Yeah, yeah.
But she just lives in this negative land. And with traveling, or if you want to go do something, just go do it. Don't get so caught up in all the negatives of
You
it.
know what I would do?
What would you do?
I would get one of those isolation tanks
Yeah.
and just fill it with lotion and just
That-
cream. Just cream. Get the money. Dollar bills, y'all.
So
You
pure.
know what I mean? You know, I would get a team of sushi experts to, as I'm laying there with my back in the water and my head in the lotion, just like lotioning it up. I would have them feed me sashimi. Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Sushi expert. Okay, fine. I'm going to change my answer. If I got a bunch of money right now, I would buy the world's biggest oven.
Get a bunch of Ridge wallets.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Ridge Wallet, 1811 Pico Boulevard.
I texted you earlier,
I know.
and I didn't know that you were going to get that right away. I said, hey, can you meet me at 1811 Pico Boulevard? And as soon as I texted you back, the second I texted you back, you texted me, what was it?
Gray Block Pizza. Get that hitter.
Yeah, that's
Theo Vaughn.
Theo
He's
Vaughn,
the
yeah.
best. And it's funny, I saw a comment on one of his YouTube videos, and somebody was like, until the day I die, I will always know where Gray Block Pizza
Yeah.
is. It's just so it's set, the way he says it just burns it into your memory.
That's right.
1811 Pico Boulevard, Gray Block Pizza.
Get
that hitter.
All right, so we're going to start closing out the podcast.
Fuck.
Shout out segment. Shout out whoever you want.
I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry.
Literally, your girlfriend's sitting right there, and you're like, my
It's
bad,
a Drake
mama.
reference.
Oh, it's a Drake reference?
Shout out Tez. I mean, you know. She was on the podcast. She's got a whole 2 hour. She was the first 2 hour podcast I ever did.
That seems like a very long time.
Yeah.
To wax poetic about relationships and all.
But
that
in the time that we've been together, that's it was
nothing.
easy. It was
That's
easy to do.
nothing.
Shout out Tess for going to Austin, Texas, and following her dreams.
Yeah.
Not being afraid of life and just going out there and
Absolutely.
getting that hitter.
All right, so the last two cousins I always have in the podcast. First one is musician's advice, or in your case, maybe podcast advice, or you do a silkscreen business, anything related to music. It's the opposite, not the advice one. It's horror stories, something terrible that's happened, or you've seen something crazy happen. It's a good story, and you want to tell it.
The worst thing that's ever happened podcast wise is when the live stream fucks up. So
Yeah.
that's just a horror story.
happens.
Because you have
Yeah.
somebody that's come probably from not very close to where you're at to come on and spend time with you and do a podcast, and their whole night gets fucked up because you can't figure out the audio issue. So there's that. As a band, horror story, it's an easy one. I've told it before, but the first time I ever played a show in front of people, I got too drunk, fucked everything up, and my guitar got stolen. So advice... Oh, we're not on that yet.
We're not there yet, no. So we'll stop there.
Okay.
I want to talk about some of these comments here that we're getting.
Oh.
Boy Sully says, someone said Drew farted. Did you fart?
But earlier,
We
I know it was fart police.
Manny Placencia says, Blue Da Ba Dee goes hard.
By Eiffel 84. Is it 84? Who is
I think
that?
so, yeah.
I'm blue if I was green.
Hot Ones goes hard, even though Shaq was being a wimp.
I'm not gonna make a face. I'm not gonna make a face.
JR says, look, I'm straight, but if Michael Hutchins from INXS pre-being dead needs something, I would get weird. No
See,
comment.
This is my point. There's just nothing in it for me. I have there's no, I'm not down with the dickness.
No, you gotta open your mind, man. It's 2019. It's a beautiful world.
Wow.
We live in a beautiful world. You know that song?
REM.
I don't know. I don't think it's R.E.M. Anyway, fun stories. Okay, so last question that I like to ask is for musicians' advice, something that you can impart on someone to help them achieve their dreams. Baby, what do you got?
You are not special. Everybody does not need to drop everything to talk to your band, to book your band, to give people a listen. You are not special. You should be doing this because you love it.
I'm blue.
If green, I would die. If I was green, I would die. If I was green. No, but really, stop acting like you're hot shit, because you're gonna burn so many bridges. So many bridges. Be humble, work really hard, and it will come. Even if it doesn't come for 1
Comes
year,
so hard.
2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, the longer you edge, the harder it's gonna come, and it's gonna come, and it's gonna feel so good, baby doll. It's gonna feel so good. But honestly, just be humble, because if you're honestly as good as you think you are, things are gonna start happening.
Andrew Shanison from the Psychic Wave, thanks for coming in. Thanks, bud. I think we're going to keep drinking after this.
Thanks for having me.
I assume so.
I would love to.
Can you tell us where to find you?
Yes, you can follow my Instagram at The Psychic Wave. If you don't know how to spell psychic, you're too dumb and don't follow me. I don't want you. My personal account is at Andrew Sandishin. It's private, so only cool people will get to follow me. I'm being an asshole and not following my advice that I just gave you 2 seconds ago. You can go to thepsychicwave.com to buy some merch and check out our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and YouTube, where we do a live streamed one. That's pretty much it.
Talon, you want to do some promo while you're up there?
Sure. Yeah, you guys can check out the whole way through. We're going to drop a new episode tomorrow from when we're recording this with Fellow Robot. So yeah, check in on that, and you can listen live on klbp.org or find us wherever you get your podcasts, like wherever you're listening to this right now.
Can I actually do one more quick shout out?
Yeah.
Okay, shout out to the number 44, Fellow Robot, Donut Sounds, Bundy, Hell is a City. These are all some really good bands that have got their merch through Psychic Wave. So thank you for your business. It's been a lot of fun, and I actually like those bands.
I want to give a shout. It's a shout out circle.
Shout out, baby.
As we close out the podcast, thanks for watching. If you want to like and subscribe and share the video, that would really mean a lot to us. Even just give it a like. Just go bloop. It takes 2 seconds.
Subscribe to the Bundy podcast. It's really good.
Because we worked very hard to make this happen, and I need validation. And if you want to help contribute a little bit of money, as little as $2 a month on our Patreon, it's as little as $2. That's about the price of 1 bag of chips. And I know you're going to eat a lot of fucking chips because you're a fat ass. Please go to patreon.com. That wasn't nice. I'm sorry. Go to patreon.com/BundyLBC. I want to give a shout out to Allison, Anthony, Brenda, Donut Sounds Records, Darian, Ellen, Frederico, George, Gustavo, Jairo, Julio, Manny, Marvin, Miguel, Paul, and Shane. Thank you, you little angels. And I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Bundy the Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bundy LBC on Instagram or whatever the fuck. And have a good night. Peace.
Bye.